Hi, it's Dr. Schmidt. So tonight's seminar is about awareness for Pillar 2. So we have the 7-step blueprint to optimal health, and that's divided into 3 pillars. Last night was about Pillar 1, and then tonight's about Pillar 2, which is steps 4 and 5. Now, last night I talked about drainage, and that's step 3 out of the 7. I'm going to show you this graphic right here. And it's related to what we're going to talk about tonight, steps 4 and 5, and that would be parasites inside the body and inside the intestines. So here's a drainage funnel. This is from Cellcore Biosciences. And just excuse the mess over here. Let's focus on this upside down pyramid. Um, so we have at the bottom colon, and that is the first drainage organ. It needs to be corrected if you have constipation and diarrhea, for example. That needs to be fixed, especially constipation. Because if that's not working, then nothing else works and your body's not cleaning itself out. So above that colon, we have liver and bile ducts, and there's supplements for these. Above that, we have the lymphatic system, which I talked about, and then organs and tissues, and then above that, lastly, is cells. So you can't clean cells out unless everything else below it is working well. And imagine if all these segments are working well: the colon, liver, lymphatic system, organs, tissues, and cells. What disease would you have? The only possible disease would simply be nutritional deficiency related stuff, which is really easy to fix. But all the diseases related to toxicity, including toxic food, toxic workplace environment, home environment, outdoors, insect bites, pathogens coming from them, parasites from the ground, all that stuff. If your drainage funnels, channels were working well, you wouldn't have much disease to speak of. Okay, now I bring this up because parasites can live in the colon and they can cause constipation. And same thing with mold and other pathogens. But we're going to talk about parasites. Now, parasites can be in the liver flukes, for example. They can be in the lymphatic system. There's a particular parasite called strongyloides, and it can go anywhere from head to toe. And then for organs and tissues, certainly various organs will have parasites in them. Parasites go wherever they want to go. Just like snakes in a jungle, they go in the trees, in the water, on the ground. They go wherever they want to go. And there's plenty of, you can just search online for parasites in the brain, and you'll see stories about surgeons who think that there's a brain tumor, and they go in and they find a worm, and they're pulling out a 6-inch worm or something like that. You can search that and find these stories. And then cells. There are parasites in the cells, and that is called Lyme disease, and that's tomorrow's lecture seminar at 7 o'clock. Okay, super interesting stuff. Let me get rid of this. And I'm going to show you this one again. This is the 7-step blueprint to optimal health. And I guess I can stand over here. I don't know where to stand. So now we're talking about steps 4 and 5. I'll hold the microphone over here. And it's in the middle. There's it's that figure 8, and when you're in the middle of 4 and 5 and getting rid of parasites, it's not a straight line up of feeling great. Hey, I feel great. No, you might not feel great. You might feel really crappy. When I took a particular parasite supplement, it felt like I had a boxer fighting me from the inside, and he was punching the inside of my stomach. I had another parasite supplement. It caused severe constipation, but I had to just take more and more until it fixed the problem. And so these are the kind of stories that other patients have. And it's disgusting too. I have so many pictures. We actually have an email address. It's called parasites at the nhcaa.com. And people send us pictures of their parasites. You can do that if you'd like. And when I say the nhcaa.com, it stands for the Nutritional Healing Center Ann Arbor. So plenty of stories, plenty of pictures. Back in 2007, I figured out parasites, what I thought pretty well, but the tools weren't so strong. I had wormwood, I had black currant seed or black walnut hull, and some powerful enzymes. And if somebody got out a parasite, let's say a 3-inch worm or a 6-inch dwarf tapeworm or something, then, it was exciting. We thought we were done. But no, with the current supplements that we have now, we have people getting rid of parasites daily for 2 years. And, the goal is to get that to be totally gone, for good. But again, it's not always easy. It can be a struggle. But this is the best chance, the best way of cleaning your body out with the particular, supplements from Cellcore Biosciences, basically. So again, 4 and 5, that section of this graphic, it actually goes backwards. Okay, now some people they sail through this, no problems. And some people take these products and they have no parasites coming out, no mucoid plaques, no weird things coming out. So they're lucky. They just have had very little unlucky exposures. They haven't swam in a backyard ditch. They haven't swam in lakes, freshwater lakes, or even the ocean. They haven't walked in sand and soil too much. And they haven't touched animals. This is where you get parasites from walking barefoot on sand or soil, drinking water, touching animals, eating food, living on planet Earth. That's how you get parasites. So tomorrow we talk about 6 and 7, and also the last step is O. That stands for optimization, lifelong optimization. And that's probably the biggest subject. The point of me giving this seminar and yesterday's seminar and tomorrow's seminar is to introduce this 7-step blueprint to optimal health, which includes me live on Zoom calls twice a month. And I'm doing that because there's a wall. And you have to see, in order to see those videos, you're paying me money. You have access to me. You can ask me questions, but the FTC won't be there. And Twitter, Google can't censor me. So during these Zoom meetings, a lot of my discussions and answers will be related to step O, because that's my lifetime of learning how to improve the health of organs. And the steps 2 through 7, I learned just in the last 4 years from Cellcore Biosciences. And they put their own program together. It's called the 5-step, it's 5 steps to healing. And I just kind of expanded it a little bit. I made it 7. But the first step I added, and then the last step, I added that. Anyways, the 2 Zoom calls a month, they're filled with information. And I just have so much information on healing the body using organ-specific nutrients and, of course, the diet. And so the bulk of the information in this course is on the videos on the website, which I actually need to show you tomorrow. But let's not forget that the 2 Zoom calls per month will be filled with information. Okay, let's talk about this one. Now I'm going to stand over this way. Okay, so we have today, eliminate parasites right here. So we have steps 1, 2, 3 at the very top in pillar 1. And then on the right side, we have eliminate parasites. And those are steps 4 and 5. The first one says intestines and immune cleansing. And the second one says full body immune cleansing. So the first one's broken up into 3 sections: parasitic worms, biofilm, and mucoid plaque. And then the next one's broken up into 3 sections: hidden parasites, and then sinus brain cleansing. And then the last one, it says para 3. And para 3 is a particular supplement. And I go into detail about that in the course. So let's talk about these. And I'm going to leave this up as a reference for me. I'm going to leave it like right here. Okay, now, so we're really working with the body. This is ultimately what we're up to. And in medicine, they don't work with the body. They punish it, they fight it, they poison it, they cut it. And if you're sick, it's your fault. Or if you're sick, it's the body's fault. The body is stupid. And the doctors are smarter than the body. The scientists at Pfizer are smarter than your body. They're smarter than your genetics. And that's kind of the viewpoint of the medical establishment. If you have a side effect from a drug, whether it's a vaccine, a statin drug, a painkiller, destroying your kidneys or whatever. Doesn't matter. You took the risk by taking that medication, and nobody ever forced you ever to take a medication. And there's California mandates vaccines for children to go to school. You don't have to send your kid to school, right? So you can get around all these mandates. There's no mandate that's legal that comes from any individual. It can only come from a Congress or a legislative body. And so you have a governor or a mayor or a president saying you must take a vaccine. Not true. Oh my God, this is going to take me out. I'm going to get a community strike off of YouTube. Sorry. But I'm just telling you, it's a dictatorial viewpoint. It's tyrannical in all aspects of medicine. So the fact that they're using medications, all medications have side effects. I know a guy that worked at a pharmaceutical company. He was really good at what he did. He made a product that did what it was supposed to do, and it had no side effects. He was very proud of his work. Well, when the CEO of this company found out that there was no side effects, the CEO told him, go back in the lab and create at least 5 side effects. This is what he said, when I wake up in the morning, I need to hear the drip, drip, drip of money going into the bank account. Okay, so therefore, that's just an example of how all drugs have side effects. So now we're working with nutritional supplements. We're working with Mother Nature. We're working with your body. And step 1, get the bad stuff out. Step 2, put the good stuff in. Okay, so we're still talking about getting the bad stuff out. That includes parasites. And in medicine, doctors are taught that parasites don't exist in the United States unless you went on vacation to Cancun or something, you went to Mexico or India, and you got a parasite. As a matter of fact, I was just in Cancun 2 months ago, and sure enough, I got a parasite. I had diarrhea. It was horrible. I lost 7 pounds in like 3.5 days. I couldn't eat food. It was a disaster. But I just took these supplements, and then once I got the right dosage, I was better within 6 hours, resolved in 6 hours with a nutritional supplement. And that supplement is called Para-1 from Cellcore Biosciences. So let's get into the details of the subject. Okay, so parasitic worms, they are real, and you can be born with them. And you can get them from the sources that I mentioned. And food is certainly a common source of parasites. And you can search online the names of parasites like strongyloides, for example, and click on the CDC link, and it'll show you like a 30 or 60-second video of the life cycle of that parasite. There's a lot of study here if you want to get into it. And it could be, considered just academic, and I'm really more interested in clinical, like actually getting you well. So people will say to me, well, they'll show me a picture. Which parasite is this? I don't know. I don't know what that parasite is. To me, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that it's out. And I had a girl as a patient this summer, and she had a variety of GI problems. And it sounded like parasites to me based on her symptoms. And she told me the exact month when she got it, initially. And I said to her, what happened the month before? I asked her directly, what happened 1 month earlier that caused you to get parasites? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And she's like 15 or 16. And her mom was on the phone and said, honey, we were in Nigeria. And that's, when you got home from that, you were sick. Okay, so traveler's diarrhea, whatever you want to call it. And I said, okay, well, here's these supplements. And then 6 months later, she's done. She doesn't need any more supplements. She's 100% back to normal. And like if she had gone to a medical doctor, they would have given her a drug for maybe 2 days or 5 days. And that's not enough. And the standard protocol medically is just not enough. It could be a year, but it's at least 3 months. Okay? That's a huge disconnect about parasites. You start killing parasites, and they love to be in your body. They love to eat your food, and they poop in you, with toxins, and they lay eggs, and those eggs hatch, and you start killing off the main worm, and that worm then, it's releasing enzymes that prevent the eggs from hatching. You kill that worm off, there's no more enzymes. that prevent the eggs from hatching. So now the eggs are hatching, and you can have a big problem if you stop the supplements. I just talked to a woman. I'm not kidding. I had a full day today with patients all day, and she's not in the United States. She's in another country, and as an experiment, she stopped one of my parasite supplements, and then she felt worse, so she went back on it. And I told her, you can't just stop it. There's not an experiment here. You're not testing these supplements. You do what I tell you to do, and you'll get better. And if you don't, it could be a little bit dangerous because those eggs can start hatching. Okay, so just trust me on this. I've had lots and lots of people go through this program, and I can like go guide you through it. But I'm the expert at this, and I know what I'm doing. Okay, so parasitic worms. That's that section. And the next one is biofilm. Parasitic worms make biofilm. Biofilm is also known as mucus. That is their home. Bacteria and candida, yeast, fungus also make biofilm to live in. They live in that. And it protects them from your immune system. And it protects them from other possible problems, just like your house protects you from weather and animals. It protects you from more than one thing. So you got to get that biofilm out. And the main product for that is Para One. It is the absolute best supplement I've ever worked with in my whole career, since studying this since 1993. And when it came out like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it kind of blew me away because of the things that were coming out of people's bodies. And the guy that made it, Todd Watts, he's done plenty of his own research, and I get what he was, where he was going. It's just absolutely brilliant. The next one's called mucoid plaque. So mucoid plaque is like the old stuff that's been sitting in your gut for decades. Maybe some old bubble gum, old undigested food, whatever. It's just stuff that's compacted. And now it's taking the shape of your intestines. So it'll have more bulbous parts and then constricted parts, bulging, constrict like that. And when you go to the bathroom and it comes out, there it is, and you're looking at it like, oh my God, that looks like the shape of my intestines. That is mucoid plaque. So I had a guy, he was a little bit shorter than me, but he had my stature, so shoulders out like this, slimmer here, and looked good, throughout, except one thing is he had a belly that stuck out. And no matter what he did for exercise or diet, he always had this belly sticking out. So I put him on Para One. He got rid of, over the course of a few months, he got rid of like 75 feet of mucoid plaque. And it flattened out his gut, totally flattened out. But imagine all the diseases that we just prevented by getting all that old garbage out of his intestines. It was phenomenal. And, other people have had the same, similar experiences. So you want to, once you're done with like pillar one, you have good energy and you have drainage happening, your diet's good, and then you clean out your intestines. Now you're ready for the next step, which is step 5, getting rid of parasites from head to toe and other organisms. Because when you get rid of other organisms from head to toe, they got to go somewhere. They leave your body through your intestines. So get your intestines cleaned out first, then get the rest of your body cleaned out. So under the section of full body immune cleansing, we have hidden parasites. So one of my most profound stories about this is the next section, sinus and brain cleansing. So I had a guy come up from Texas for 3 days, 5 visits. And so he had problems with his kidneys and brain and whatever. So during the first 4 days, I put him on a really good program, which in hindsight, was excellent. He got much better in the course of 6 months. Okay, so, but on the 5th visit, I just tested him to find out what could I possibly find that we can work on in the future. Because he's going to fly home later that day. And I might not ever see him again. We would talk on the phone. And I found some things. Okay, now fast forward 2 years. And the supplement came out called Para 3. And he bought it without talking to me. He just bought it off my account. He started taking it, and he got 10 to 20 parasites out of his nose every day for 3 to 4 weeks. And they were each about an inch long. So I'm guessing that they're flukes, like a liver fluke or a lung fluke or whatever. I don't know. But he's pulling them out of his nose, and they have a fat belly, and they're skinnier on the sides, on the ends, covered in really slippery slime. So he's just pulling these out. And next time I got him on the phone, he said to me, "You told me on the fifth visit that I had parasites in my brain." And now Para 3 was not yet on the market. And when it came out, he's like, "Oh, that's what I need because Dr. Schmidt found parasites in my brain." He started taking this product, and a month goes by, and he gets 450 parasites out of his nose. So that constitutes. There's so many lessons learned in there, right? I learned so much, but hidden parasites, they could be, in the lymphatic system, they could be in the sinuses. Maybe those parasites came up from his lungs. I don't know where they came from, but they came out. That's what matters. And you can have microscopic parasites too. I haven't mentioned this yet. So they're so small, you need a microscope, and you don't see them, but you feel better as you're taking these supplements, and it's normalizing your intestines and stuff like that. So when I got a parasite in Cancun, it was probably Giardia, which is a microscopic organism. And when I finally got that fixed up by taking lots of Para 1, I took 10 in the morning and then 5 in the afternoon on the fourth day once I got home. 6 hours into it, I'm like back to normal. But yeah, that was a microscopic parasite, food poisoning. Okay, so the Para 3 supplement is designed specifically for a parasite called Strongyloides. Now, this has a life cycle where it enters your foot when you walk barefoot in sand or soil, and it crawls up your leg into your lungs. And then as it's moving through your body, it changes. It goes through stages of life. And then it gets in your lungs and it makes you cough. So you cough, and then you swallow your spit. Now it's in your intestines. It goes through past your stomach into your intestines, and it starts laying eggs. And then you go to the bathroom, into the dirt or whatever. Imagine 600 years ago or 2,000 years ago, you're going to the bathroom in the dirt, and then somebody else walks by that later, and they pick it up, and it drills a hole through that person's foot. There is a stage in between, and that has to do with snails, or maybe even dogs. But the CDC knows all about it. The point is, these strongyloides could be in your sinuses, in your lungs. They could be, in your foot, anywhere from head to toe. So the Para 3 actually also has some antifungal properties to it. And when I say that, I actually mean that it helps the immune system get rid of the fungus. This is all about helping the immune system. Okay, there's my legal statement. I have to say that. Okay. So there's the Para 3. What would we do without it? I don't know. It's absolutely amazing. It made me blow 2 parasites out of my nose. So in the course, I have a picture of one of the parasites that came out of my nose. And I have other pictures from other people. And then I made a little bonus course called The Top 5 Parasites My Patients Eliminate. And I got pictures, and you want to make sure that you're not eating food when you're watching this, or you're seeing the video. And it's not about identifying what those parasites actually are, but there are some patterns of what they look like. And there are varieties of parasites that come out depending on the product that you're taking. So today I had a patient tell me that the Para 1 made a certain type of parasite come out, and then Para 3 made other parasites come out. And then even like a high dose ascorbic acid or a different parasite product that she was on, different parasites come out depending on the product. I've heard this over and over again from other patients. So it's good to get it started though with, for example, Para 1. It's so good at starting to clean the intestines out. It sort of breaks loose and frees up this opportunity for other parasites to come out also later with other products. And so you can do this on a regular basis, and then maybe like once a year do a parasite cleanse. When's the best time to actually do like a one-time parasite cleanse? That would be in March of the full moon, March. That full moon is called the worm moon. Every full moon has a different name. Like October, it's harvest moon. I don't have them memorized, but I think in 2022 it's March 18th is the full moon. So, but a lot of people just need to start off by doing a parasite cleanse and do it every day for at least 4 to 6 weeks, and maybe even longer. And now, not everybody gets success by doing the parasite cleanse. They can have nothing weird come out. They feel no change with their digestive system. And my answer to that is good. I'm glad. You're lucky. Let's move on to the next step. Whereas other people, they start getting parasites out, and my answer is good. I'm glad. You're lucky. You're lucky that we found it and you're getting it out. Keep going, and then later we can go on to the next step. So whether you get weird stuff out or not doesn't matter. You went through it. And the Para 1 supplement and the various other detox products that we're talking about tomorrow, they're doing something. Whether you experience it or not, whether you feel something or not, whether it's a clinical symptom or not, there's some benefit from that. At least the state of mind of knowing like, hey, I'm pretty good. So, like health-wise, doing pretty good. So keep that in mind. I'd mentioned there's unlucky exposures, and then there's lifestyle choices. And the lifestyle choices includes eating a lot of chips and drinking Pepsi and stuff like that. Obviously that's bad. But you can have a really good, healthy diet for your whole life. But you always have a pet dog or a pet cat. And you get parvo from the dog, and you get Toxoplasma gondii from the cat. And these are microscopic, and 50 years later you got a chronic case of arthritis. And that we talk about tomorrow, because those two organisms, they are parasites, but they go inside inside the cells, which is step 7 that we're going to talk about tomorrow. Okay. All right, cool. That's my lesson. Now, when you click on the link that I have under the video description box, let me see if I can put it under the chat. Let's see if I can do this on the chat. Come on. Yeah, there it is. All right, so I just put the link on the chat. So when you click on that link, it goes to the website, and I have these training videos, and I think all 3 of them are open. So yesterday's topics, today, and then tomorrow, through the 3 pillars. And you can just watch them on your own. And if you're interested, you can join in the course. So along with the regular course, I made a bunch of mini courses. So the one mini course is called Bugs in My Brain. So I go into better detail about fixing up brain function and removing parasites that are affecting the brain in some way. So you can have parasites in the gut, for example, and they're releasing their toxins, like ammonia, for example. And that can affect your brain negatively because it just spreads throughout your whole body. One of the major problems with ammonia is the pH is very, very alkaline. It's like 11. And it's, that the alkaline power is like melting, right? Like acid is fire, alkaline is melting. So picture that alkaline liquid going all over the place, and what it's doing is absorbing hydrogen. It's melting hydrogen out of the body. That's a problem because different parts of the body need different pHs, and the blood has to be very specific, like around 7.2, a very narrow window. So anyways, so Bugs in My Brain, and then the parasite mini course, I got my notes right here. The top 5 parasites my patients eliminate. So there you go. There's my intro to pillar number 2. I appreciate you watching. And I have like so many thoughts that I started off this seminar, this lecture, talking about medicine. I didn't say half the things I wanted to say. What a disaster. And I knew as a kid, let me tell you my the very first story I ever had where I realized I think holistically. All right, then we'll end. But when I grew up on a family farm, and my dad was the boss. There, he had 2 brothers and 3 cousins. They all worked together, but he was sort of like the executive admin thing. He worked with the federal government on regulations. He did a lot of sales and stuff. He did hiring and firing. So he's kind of like the boss in that regard. Um, so as a kid, I would follow him around. I started working on the farm when I was 9, but when I was 6, I think I was 6. I definitely was not 9 years old yet, but I was following him around. We're sitting in the office, and he's sitting at his desk, and his brother comes in, my uncle, and my uncle picks up a piece of paper and a pencil, and he says to my dad, "I just inspected that field of potatoes, and it has potato beetle larvae everywhere, and they're this big." So he took his pencil and he made a dot, and he showed it to my dad. That's how big the larvae are of the potato beetle. And my dad like pushed himself away from the desk, and he threw his fist in the air, and he goes, and he used a swear word. He goes, "I just sprayed that field last week." And so I'm a kid, and I'm thinking, okay, something's wrong here. And I didn't know how to put it into words, but I remember that moment very distinctly. But as my language progressed and my thoughts, came together, I realized, what they're doing is they're they're fighting Mother Nature with poisonous chemicals, and they're losing, right? Because the potato beetle larvae didn't care that you just sprayed it 1 week earlier. And in medicine, it's the same thing. You're fighting Mother Nature, that's the body, with poisonous chemicals, that's medicine, and losing. Okay, so ultimately, what we want to do is we want to work with Mother Nature. So I attended a seminar once given by an organic farmer. He showed a picture of this 200-acre field of soybeans. It was all organic, and there were no weeds at all. And it was very impressive. And everything he said during the whole seminar was exactly what I would say regarding the human body. It was quite amazing that it's like, what we're doing is like organic farming, but it's with the body. It's organic medicine. It's organic healthcare. So, but the point is, even at the age of 6, I knew like, okay, why am I thinking this way? I think differently. I know I think differently. And so I've been holistic for my whole life. Now I appreciate there's some medical doctors, they do, 30 years of cardiology and the surgery, and then they discover ascorbic acid, vitamin C, and they start selling it. Okay, great. I'm happy for you that you found vitamin C. But, real healthcare is this big, huge subject. It's finite, right? It's not an infinite subject, but it's very large. And once you go down this path, it's a certain path. And there's things that are important and true, and there's other things that are not important and true. Most subjects, most data in the natural healthcare world are true but not important. So when I talk about these 7 steps, this is by far absolutely the most important things in all of healthcare, right? Except for emergency medicine. You get hit by a car, go see the ER doctor. But for chronic illnesses, and you name the autoimmune condition, name the cancer, name the heart disease diagnosis, it comes down to steps 1, diet, all the way through step 0, optimization, or step O, optimization. You got the 7 steps plus optimization. And that covers like all the greatest amount of territory. And I'm very confident in saying that because I've been at this full time, since really 1993, full time in practice since 1998, 100% focused on nutrition. And this is my life. I study nutrition every day. All right, there's I don't know why I can't. I hope you appreciate what I'm saying. And so tomorrow night at 7 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to do this again. That'll be my last sort of expose to share with you about the 7-step program. And so check out that link, please, and watch those videos, learn some more. And then I'll see you tomorrow night at 7. Okay, bye.